Hey, welcome back. So in this video, we're gonna jump right into the third point on things to consider as you think about your value. And remember, please like and share this video, and please subscribe to my channel so that we can send a message to YouTube letting them know that you desire more positivity and more hope on their platform. Also, this will enable me to reach more people with my message of hope and inspiration. So once again, thank you in advance for subscribing, and remember to start with the hard work. Enjoy the video. And the third thing that I want to encourage you to focus on is your peace. There's a funny thing about having a career, and as you begin to grow and get increasing responsibilities and increasing recognition and increasing pay, with that sometimes comes turmoil. Sometimes there's difficulty that comes with that. When you're focusing on your family, like I said before, there might not be as much recognition, but there is a lot more work that is involved in cultivating the things that are placed in your hand. But I want you to ask yourself this question as you're pursuing excellence and as you're pursuing your purpose and your gifting. Ask yourself, what is the place of peace in my role? What is the place of peace in my role? The mistake that I made when I finally began to grow in a way that was meaningful to me was I sacrificed my peace. At one point in my career, I had acquired this dream job. It was a job where I got to serve the communities that I grew up in. It was at a very prestigious organization that was well known in our city, state, and even across the country. And I was just excited to be able to serve on this team. But what ended up happening was I ended up working so much that I was neglecting my marriage. I was neglecting my own health. I wasn't able to serve in other ways in my personal life that I had done before. And it got so bad, you all, that at one point I was so broken that I would just be at work and just randomly cry. Like, I didn't know why I was crying. I wasn't thinking about anything emotional, but my soul and my spirit were yearning for peace because I allowed myself to trade off the notoriety and the accomplishment of being on this team and working at this organization. I traded that for my peace and even my joy. So I want to encourage you to find the place of peace and never cross that line, because without peace, you cannot serve well, you can't serve others well, you can't serve yourself well, and you can't take care of your family without peace. You all know and have heard it said before, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Always keep your cup of peace full so that you can serve your family and your organization and your business without the sacrifice of yourself. And so what I had to determine and put a stake in the ground about was that there was no amount of money attached to my value. There was no amount of recognition that could determine what my value was. And there was no title that would determine who I am and the value that I add to this world. Now, I will tell you that I feel extremely blessed to be a mother, to be a wife, to be an entrepreneur. I know that those titles that I carry are wonderful and they're a blessing and there's something to be happy about. But again, like I keep saying to you before, I know that in order to fully live out those titles that have been bestowed upon me, I must go deeper and find the place of my purpose, my gifting, and my peace. And what another thing that I realized for myself, and I want to encourage you about, is that you have unlimited importance. You have unquantifiable worth. And you have unique and special usefulness. So when you think about how we define value, the definition again is the importance, the worth, and the usefulness of something. Your importance, your worth, and your usefulness cannot be grounded in a human perspective or anything that has to do with you as a person or the different roles that you play. The roles that you play are the places and the gifts that enable you to live out your purpose. And I understand the reality of the matter is, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a career person and still wanting to grow, I know that we will still need to come back to the money question. And so I have some points that I would like to share with you as you're having to navigate making sure that your value that you bring to your company and to your business is well compensated, because I do believe that that is important. Because if it were not important, we would not spend 8 to 10 hours a day on a job if we were not being compensated for it. If you're going to be spending that amount of time focused on tasks and focused on serving, you may as well be compensated for it. So the first encouragement or tip that I want to share is your salary is not personal. Boy, did I have to learn this. I had to learn the difference between my value as an individual and my value to the company that I worked in. The salaries that I made in my career and throughout my career, although they were tremendously low, it did not diminish the fact that I had unlimited importance and that my worth could not be quantified and that my usefulness was special. It did not take that away, even though my salary was low. But what I came to realize was that no, I did not know how to advocate for myself. No, I didn't know how to speak up and ask for what I needed. But it was also attached to the capacity of the organizations that I worked at. Like I mentioned to you before, I worked in low-income communities. And as you know, those communities are not deeply resourced. So that came out in my salary and in my benefits. But for you, I want to encourage you that when you're negotiating your salary and thinking about what you feel is a fair salary for the work and the value that you're bringing to your organization, please separate yourself as an individual from the work that you'll be doing, because you are valuable no matter what you are paid. The second thing I want to encourage you about is to consider the amount of investment that you've made in yourself. So take me for example. I pursued and earned my master's degree. I'm a licensed counselor and I'm a licensed school counselor and continue to get continuing education so that I stay sharp in my field. If you are someone that is invested in getting more training, you've invested years in a career, you've studied and done different professional development opportunities to hone your skills and to hone your value so that you can add more value to your organization, then you need to speak up about that. You need to remember that, and you need to take that to the negotiating table with you when you're thinking about the salary that you would like. And then the third thing that I want to encourage you about is the unique fit that you are to the organization that you'll serve. So what you'll notice is when you're looking at a job description, there's some very explicit things that those companies are looking for, but you might have some things that are adjacent that are not in that job description that take your profile up to the next level. So an example of this is the organization that I worked at, that I mentioned to you before. They wanted someone that could train, someone that could bring parents together, someone that could be in the public eye for the organization. And I had all those things. But the thing that took me over the top was I actually grew up and lived in the communities that I would be serving. I actually knew some of the principals and some of the teachers and some of the schools that I would be serving in the communities that they were going to hire me to serve in. And that took me again to the next level, and it gave me more leverage and more negotiating power. So I would encourage you to think about what are those additional things that a school can give you, that a job experience can give you, that training can give you, but that they are a unique fit for the role that you're applying for. So again, I just wanted to share my heart with you today about knowing your value. And I'm 41 years old, and you would think that I would have this down pat yet, but what I realized is with every level of maturity and every level of growth, there's a new revelation that comes. And again, I want to encourage you to remember that your value cannot be quantified. That it is not a salary, it is not a job title, but it is who you were created to be. Like I told you before, you are a piece of the puzzle that only you can bring, that the rest of the world needs to see. And like I always tell you over and over again, when you start with the hard work first, everything else becomes easier. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.